Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for, this installment of In Conversation With. I feel like it's been quite a while since the last one. And today I'm joined by Werner Herbst. Hello, Werner. How are you today?
Good, and you, Rositta?
I think I'm okay. I've just come back from leave. So, it's always good not logging in, but then you do know that the work never stops. So there's always a ping. But I'm good nonetheless. So you are the GM for, take us through. I always muddle up these. You're the GM for?
Enterprise Compute. So I'm responsible for the enterprise business of our organization. That's the real big stuff,
I usually start this by saying, what's in your cup? Now, I've just got boring glass of water because I feel like I really need some H2O today. It's going to be a crazy day. What's in your cup or in your glass today?
I think you will find it difficult to believe, but it's exactly the same. Water.
So we both need some H2O today. We've got quite a few people in Tarsus that I think are amazing, that you can draw inspiration from, I think you are one of them, personally anyway. But I definitely think that we've all got that 1 or 2 or 5 people that we can look up to within the group. Who do you look up to within Tarsus and why?
I look up to Lucia. And Lucia, your dean, I hope I say her surname correctly. Lucia is super efficient and the way she manages our debtors is amazing. I don't think it's an easy job. So I really, really enjoy working with Lucia. I look up to her because the way she looks after her staff is amazing. I think the respect that she gains from salespeople and from our partners, our customers, is unbelievable. And that's really someone that I look up to.
Just describe for us what your best and your worst day looks like at Tarsus.
Okay, so my best days are the days that I can go to partners and to vendors. I'm a person that doesn't like admin, believe it or not. I think I'm good at my admin, but I don't like it. So I really enjoy sitting in front of people, and entertain people. That's my strong point. So my best day is always being in front of people. That unfortunately we don't have a lot of lately. And then my worst days, not at Tarsus, I suppose. I don't often have worst days at Tarsus. I really enjoy Tarsus.
Oh.
If I have to go shopping with my wife or someone, anyone asks me to go to a shopping mall, that's my worst day. It's really, really something I don't like. But I don't know other worst work.
So as the GM for Enterprise Compute, what does the day in the life of that look like for you in a job? Like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go back to bed?
What we used to do in a normal environment is I used to wake up very early. So I would wake up at 4:45, I would get myself ready and I would leave to the office quite early. And the reason for that is because I live far away from the office. I live in Victoria. And then I need to fight the traffic, and I rather prefer to be early at work, and then I can miss traffic, and I'm efficient in terms of doing the admin stuff I don't like. But these days, I will sleep later, I will wake up later, and as soon as I wake up, I'll get myself ready the same way I would have done during normal working days, get myself a breakfast, 7:45, I would be in front of my machine. And this, unfortunately, is where I will be for the whole day. I don't think that's the healthiest thing to do, but we can talk about that in a separate discussion. But pretty much my meetings are back to back from 8 o'clock up to 5 o'clock. Often I don't even get time to have a break. Sometimes we need to ask in the meeting, please can we quickly have a break? But it's really, really hectic is probably the right word to use.
How do you keep your mind in tune with all the back-to-back meetings?
I think that's a key thing of a salesperson generally. The ability to adjust very quickly according to the scene or the next meeting that you have. Often you have to have an internal meeting, and the next meeting you have is an external meeting with a partner. You've got to be in 2 different minds because one could be a difficult thinking type of meeting, where the other one is entertaining type of meeting. So very quickly you've got to adjust yourself very quickly, and I think I've got that ability throughout the years of selling. So it kind of worked for me. I don't battle with that at all.
What is the best and worst advice that you've been given? And I'm sure you've probably been given a lot of advice because you've been in the industry, for a while. What's in general the best and the worst advice that you've been given?
Years ago, people used to say to me, when you're in conflict, just walk away. That is probably the worst advice anyone can get. I would always say, take up that conflict, don't walk away, because it's your weakness. So for me, the worst advice is to walk away. The best advice is to be the best in what you are all the day, all the time. Whatever you do, just be the best in what you do. Measure yourself consistently. Make sure that you know that you're doing it to the best you can, and you will always be successful after that.
Is that something that you've also passed on to those that have come after you or your younger team members as well?
Absolutely. So if I meet, when you speak to younger people, younger team members, I see that scenario of two mountains with this gap in between the mountains. So people know that they want to get from this point to that point, but they don't know how to get from this point to that point. So they often want to jump, or they want to take the shortest route, and it doesn't work like that. So my advice to young people is be the best, keep on learning, follow the route. It took some of us years to get to the other side. There's a reason for that. But while you're doing it, learn consistently. Make sure that you keep on learning while you're doing things, because learning creates a culture where you can just become better in what you do. Remember, you want to be the best in what you do. So that is my same advice to young people.
What would you say to somebody who's basically losing that patience, for lack of a better word, to go? It's taken some of us years and years to just calm down. What would you say to that person?
I always say to people, keep on trying. Don't stop trying. You're right. Often people don't have the patience, and I probably don't have patience either. But I've learned over time to just calm down. And if I had to advise someone on that, is just carry on doing it. The next time you will do it in a better way. So there's not much I can add to that. It's simply to carry on trying, be the best, and keep on trying. You will get it right.
So we are doing this, we're having this conversation, coincidentally, we're in the middle of a third wave. And, we've always asked people how COVID has affected them. We're now in the third wave, so there might, there's been highs and lows, as expected. How has COVID affected you currently now? I mean, is there any difference that you felt from when we initially went to lockdown and now, or is it just like, I've gotten into a routine, I'm trying not to go into public spaces, or how have you been affected, particularly now in the third wave?
The biggest challenge that we had, especially people like myself that just enjoy to be in front of people, we actually really battle. And I don't think we show that easily. So when we speak to people, they don't really know what's happening. But the same way it's happening with me, I think it's a lot of this happening with my colleagues and other people, perhaps yourself. We battle with I think mental health, to keep that healthy is a challenge. Without realizing it, the effect of COVID, impacted so much on our lives, we don't even realize that. The fact that I can't go outside and meet up with people, be social, it's affecting us. And without realizing it's affecting us a lot. So it have an impact on our family life, it have an impact on the way we speak to people, have an impact on our colleagues. So for me, that is the biggest effect I think that I've experienced. Mm-hmm. And I think if people get quiet and think about it, they will realize it's affecting them exactly the same way. So to answer your question, I think I got into the routine of it. I tried to work, I figured out to work around that. I'm trying to set up a lot of social calls. I am definitely not seeing people. We look after ourselves. We've got a responsibility towards our family to do so. We've got a responsibility towards my kids, you know, to stay healthy. So we've just worked around it and we got into that routine. That is my opinion.
How have you found your parenting style, amidst the pandemic? Has it changed? Have you learned anything new about yourself and your kids? Like, it's been quite interesting journey as a parent myself, and I know for other parents, it's been quite an interesting journey. What have you picked up in terms of your parenting style and your relationship with your boys?
It's one of the things I've learned is to spend more time with your family. You know, one of the things COVID taught us was to be quiet and learn about your family and spend more time with family, because you know how long you will have them around you. So as far as parenting is concerned, you know, I haven't changed much, except for the fact that we need to care more for each other, you know. So often we will spend, because now we spend more time together, but often when we sit around the table, it gives us the opportunity to talk about it and just to reflect on what's happening in the world. We can see people are dying. We can hear the news. We can see it's not a healthy situation outside. My kids are experiencing it because they also have online classes from time to time, because the whole thing is affecting the school. So we've just learned to adjust in such a way that we talk more to each other and reflect on our lives better as a family.
And what have you learned about yourself, over the past, let's say 18 months or so, that you weren't particularly, you didn't particularly know, or you were like, actually, that's me. Is there anything?
There's a lot. You know, I've learned to become quiet. I've learned to reflect on my own life. You know, I've learned to spend more time with my family. I've always been so busy with customers, with my colleagues, you know, with my vendors, and often when you do that, you don't really reflect on yourself. You don't really reflect back to the family, and you don't have those quiet times with your personal people around you. That is one big lesson we've learned. We don't know what will happen tomorrow with our health. We don't know if we will live, if we will survive that. I think that is the scariest thing of COVID right now. We don't know what's going to happen. So the best we can do is spend more time with our own people and our loved ones.
What is the most recent lesson that you've learned?
So I've learned quite a lot about COVID, forced me to learn stuff about myself and other people that I didn't know. But the most important lesson I've learned is to respect people and understand their situations. We go to our offices, we work from home, and in my situation, I'm in a comfortable situation from where I can work. There's so many people that are in our positions that doesn't even have a room, proper setup for their work environment. And a lot of us doesn't have that respect because we don't know that. It's not that we're missing the respect, it's simply that we don't know the environment, we don't know their perspective. So I've learned to have respect for people and put myself into their perspective and understand what they're going through. Because if I'm battling, sitting in a study environment, working from home from 8 to 5, imagine how it would be for someone that's sitting in his own room that needs to be in front of his computer. It could be noisy outside, but they're trying their best to just work. So for me, that was my biggest lesson I've learned, is perspective of other people, and respect for those people.
Do you think you would have learned that if we were not in the current times that we find ourselves in terms of working from home? Do you think it would have been a little bit more difficult to learn that? Because at the office, we're all at the office.
Absolutely. Think about it. We come to the office, we don't know what people are going through because they all look normal. I call it normal. They're all sitting around us. They're sitting in the same desk we sit. They dressed well, but we don't know what's happening in the background. And now with working from home, you have a little bit of an insight of the circumstances. And how do we know that? Because we're sitting in meetings, we can hear the background noises. We can sometimes see the background of their houses. You can see the environment they're working in. They're battling with internet because they don't have fiber. They're working with mobile internet. So you kind of experience their experience where you don't have it in the office, because in the office we're all in an equal environment. And definitely it would have been different if we stayed at the office.
How do you see the future of work now that we've completely shifted gears in terms of how we're working? We were speaking about a hybrid working model and the possibility of returning to the office, and then we got thrust into this third wave. That's just saying, you know what, this might be the normal. So how do you see the future of work panning out from your perspective?
I think the future of work is definitely going to change with regards to a few things. The place of where you work, because now it's everywhere and every time. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can work. I've been in meetings while driving. So when we went in a third wave with PC partners, I would go to a customer meeting. While going to the customer meeting, I'll be having an internal meeting on Microsoft Teams. So productivity is different because I'm now able to work while wasting time, which is driving. It's the biggest time waste that we can have. But now things have changed. We can have a meeting and you can be productive. I think AI and machine learning is going to affect our lives a lot. That's why I always advise people to become the best in what you do, because if you are not the best, we can replace you with a machine. So you don't want to be in a position where a machine can replace you. And the only way you can be in that position is be the best in what you do. So machine learning and artificial intelligence is definitely something that we're going to see differently in the future. I also believe that skill sets will be different. So because we have the ability to teach machines to do our jobs, we will need to learn different skills, and therefore people will skill themselves up differently. I think we will see that young people will realize that they need to skill them up, and they're going to force themselves to skill up without even getting someone to guide them on that. So I think we will in the future see a different skill set in the workplace, and that is a good thing. And the last thing I wanted to say is that employee wellness is going to be important. Because we're sitting in front of our machines, we've got to give attention to our employees that's working for us. We need to be able to learn, because we're not in a physical environment, we need to learn to read their body languages through a machine. That's very difficult. Hence, it brings it back to that skill set, I suppose. But I think we need to give attention to our wellness of our people, and that is something that will change in the future.
I think one of the things you mentioned was routine. If that's not your number one hack, what is then your number one working from home hack?
My simple answer to that is get your workspace the best place you can be. Remember, you're sitting in front of your machine at your workspace for 8 hours, and you probably have another 4 hours lifetime with your family, and then you go to sleep and then you sleep for 8 hours, I suppose. So if you think about that, 8 hours, 9 hours a day, you're sitting in front of your machine. You can just as well make it the best place that you have. So what I've done is I've made it comfortable into my workspace. Made sure that my Wi-Fi is working properly. That's an added benefit because now everyone else is benefiting from proper Wi-Fi. I, for example, have installed a television in front of me so that I'm on top of the news every minute of time. So while in meetings, those news flashes that shows in the bottom, like CNN does, I just make it related to South Africa. So just make your place at your work the most comfortable place that you are. And that is, for me, the best hack that I can advise.
Werner Herbst, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you. I'm glad that I know a little bit more about you. This conversation was so nice and easy and just flowing. So thank you so much for giving us your time.
Sure, no problem. And thank you for talking to me. It's always nice to speak to people now that you know that I enjoy working with people.
Yes, now don't mind the phone call. And to you at home, thank you so much for tuning in for the segment of In Conversation With. As usual, we will be having more of these. It could be you, so please do look out for an invite. Thank you so much. Please do keep well, stay at home if possible, and always remember to social distance and sanitize where needed. Cheers for now. Bye.